Brooklyn has to learn how to be a team again. So that's why I'm announcing today the establishment of Team One Brooklyn. One group, one jersey, one name, all of us coming together. We cannot face the future apart. And we certainly will not get the infrastructure we need, the employees we want, and the better borough we seek on different sides of the same fight. One Brooklyn.
One Brooklyn is not that we want to be in first place, because anyone can be in first place. The question becomes, you know, what do you do with One Brooklyn? One Brooklyn is the theme of we're all here together. And it's about how do we live together in a fashion that we can all benefit from that. And so it's taking all of the diversity, all of the different cultures, all of the different outlooks and thoughts, and bringing it onto one place that we call Brooklyn, and creating this entirely new entity and new way of life, that we're no longer afraid of our diversity, but we embrace our diversity. And then we look at best practices. Because once we embrace our diversity, then we can look at best practices and see what has benefited your community that could benefit another community. And we begin to understand how we all want the same things. All of us. If you listen closely, you'll find that we all want to live in a clean and safe environment, to raise our children so they can have a respectable form of living, and to live in an environment where we could worship as we please, and we could enjoy the living standards that we could expect. And that's what One Brooklyn is all about.
So is there going to be any major initiatives this year, starting this year, that you're planning on moving forward with?
What I want to do is to have the borough go through a wax on, wax off, just to find out the exercise was really a way that we learn to live with each other. So it would include having artistic moments when different artists can come here from different walks of life and share their art. It could be either theater or through our own film festivals, when you could have some real film festivals that talks about the lifestyles and the struggles that we all have. It can be poetry readings, how we talk about poetry and how it deals with our lives, or just storytelling, where a group of people from different ethnic groups can stand up and talk about their story and give people information about their lives and how and the evolution that they had to go through. And so by the time we do these series of events throughout the next few years, I want Brooklynites to be smarter and wiser about their neighbors. I want them to be able to look at a person with a kufi on and understand why he's wearing it, or someone wearing a yarmulke, or a person wearing a hijab, or why does someone chant when they go to a Buddhist temple, or why do the men take off their shoes and kneel when they're in a mosque, or go to a Baptist church? Why do we have pastors? So I want to go through this entire evolution of saying, Brooklyn, let's learn about each other. Before we can talk about learning outside the borough, let's learn about who we are in the borough.
Brooklyn as a whole, you said it yourself, Galileo said it's the center of the universe. MC Light said it was a planet. It's a global brand name at this point. Is there any thoughts on what to do globally with the Brooklyn brand name? That's
an interesting question, and it really ties into those other communities that you were talking about, and I want to touch on both of them. We have 2.5 million people. If we were a city, of course, we'd be the fourth largest city. We need to have international relationships. I want my own form of a UN right here in Brooklyn. 47% of the borough speaks a language other than English at home. We have a large number of different dialects. People come from different areas. We hold the title for having the largest number of different groups. You know, the largest number of Haitians, the largest number of Chinese, the largest number of Caribbean Americans throughout the diaspora. We have all these large number of individuals who love the borough, love America, but they still have their own countries. We need to ensure that when visiting dignitaries and heads of state come to New York to go to the UN, they need to do a stop here in Brooklyn. You know, UN may have the building in Manhattan, but their people are in Brooklyn. Second, in our global thought, one of my goals is to show the parts of Brooklyn that have not benefited from the popularity, to let them know that they are Brooklyn too. So I want the East New Yorks to stop thinking about only surviving. I want them to live. I want them to understand they can have pedestrian plazas. They can have music shows and movies outdoors. They can have art galleries and things of that magnitude in nature. I don't want people to stay in the Shakespearean tragic mode of just surviving. Brooklyn is the place you should come to live. And I want to show those areas by building infrastructure and teaching them how do you go about bringing these items that other communities are having. They should be in other parts of Brooklyn as well.
What's your vision of Brooklyn for year 2014 and beyond?
People, you know, we have a Barclays Center. The Nets are playing. We're going to have a hockey team next year. Buildings are developed throughout. The waterfront is being developed. We don't have to, you know, worry about the growth of Brooklyn. All we have to do is allow it to continue to grow. You know, we need to deal with jobs and employment. But my goal is people. We have to teach people financial literacy so they can handle their money. Teach them how to be proactive on health care, how to eat better and access to healthy food. Stop raising an entire generation on chicken wings and fried rice. You know, I mean, I use that as a phrase, but it is what the destruction of food in our community is and how it impacts our entire life. You know, how do we go about volunteering? We need to extend volunteerism throughout the borough. How do we go about the job unemployment rate? Double-digit unemployment in many communities, particularly those communities where it's part of your catchment areas for what your show is about. But we need to ensure to increase and find creative ways to bring people back into the pipeline from unemployment to gainful employment. And then we want to look at how do we deal with some of our real spiritual and emotional healing. Look at public meditation ceremonies, bringing people into the oneness. Because no matter how great we make the borough, if we don't deal with the temple of the human body and start dealing with some of the pain that people are living through, we're never going to address the issues that impact Brooklyn. Hurt people hurt people. They do things like knockout games. And I want to stop people from hurting so they can stop hurting people. And it's a long road to do this. It's an awesome task. And we may not accomplish it in the first year. And we may not even accomplish it in 8 years. But one thing for sure, this Borough Hall, we're going to get started.